was a little meh on the airbending mechanic, but now that I've gotten a chance to play with it, I can say that the mechanic is actually kind of broken. Here's why. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Seth from Olive, and it's time for another edition, and our first Avatar edition of Much Abrew About Nothing, and I gotta say, the airbending mechanic is actually way more insane than I thought. I was kind of like, the mechanic looks cool, it's kind of like a weird twist on Blink, but it turns out it is actually trivially easy to go infinite with this mechanic, even in standard, even as early as turn 4. So our deck is built around 3 different airbending cards: Airbender Ascension, Aang Swift Savior, Appa Steadfast Guardian. If you don't know airbend, it just means you put a thing into exile and then it can be recast from exile for 2 mana typically. So our cards with airbending, Airbender Ascension, Aang Swift Savior, Appa Steadfast Guardian, they all kind of do the same thing in that they airbend stuff, although they all do it a little bit differently. Airbender Ascension, 2 mana enchantment. When it enters, you can airbend up to 1 target creature. When a creature enters for our control, we get a counter on it. Once there's 4 counters, we can blink something on our end step. Aang Swift Savior, a 3 mana flash flyer that when it enters can airbend up to 1 target creature or spell. Technically, you can waterbend 8 and transform it. I have literally never done that, not a single time with this deck, so I'm not even going to bother to show the backside, but it's kind of like bigger and deals damage and so forth. And then Appa Steadfast Guardian, a 4 mana 3/4 flash flying legend that when it enters can airbend any number of non-land permanents you control, and when you cast a spell from exile, you make a 1/1 late alley creature token. So these cards kind of do double duty in our deck. In the early game, we can use Airbender Ascension to like remove one of our opponent's things. Not forever, but as a tempo play, make them recast it for 2 mana. It does get rid of tokens forever. Same with Aang Swift Savior, can slow our opponent down, bouncing one of their creatures, bouncing one of their spells. We can play Appa like a Restoration Angel almost to save one of our creatures from removal spell. But the real plan with these cards is to combine them with Doc Arlok Grizzle Genius, and that's what allows us to go infinite. So Doc Arlok is a 2-drop that says spells you cast from exile cost 2 less to cast. So you might be able to see where this is going. If we have a Doc Arlok out, all of the things that we airbend, we can recast for free. And if there's one thing I've learned about Magic over the years, it's that casting things for free usually leads to really broken situations. So here's the actual combo. To go infinite with this deck, we need a Doc Arlok so we can un-airbender stuff for free. We need Appa Steadfast Guardian to airbend any number of things and also make ally tokens when we cast our stuff from exile. And then we need 1 additional airbend card. So either an Airbender Ascension or an Aang. So what we can do is, if we have this set up, we can like flash in an Aang to airbend our Appa, then we can cast the Appa from exile to airbend the Aang, and we can cast it for free because of Doc Arlok. Then we can cast the Aang from exile, make a token with Appa, airbend the Appa, then we cast the Appa from exile, airbend the Aang, cast the Aang, make a token, airbend the Appa. Essentially, we get to make infinite 1/1 tokens, and if we're comboing with Aang and Appa, we can actually do this at instant speed because they both have flash, so we can just do this on our opponent's end step, make enough tokens to kill our opponent, untap, swing, and win the game. If we ever have 2 airbending cards, like let's say instead of just Appa and Aang, we have Appa, Aang, and Airbender Ascension, then we can also airbend all of our opponent's creatures so they don't have a board at all as we're making infinite tokens. So that's what we're trying to set up with this deck, this infinite unairbending loop where we get to make infinite ally tokens with Appa and use those tokens to win the game. But it gets even better than that. We also have Quantum Riddle in our deck. If we add Quantum Riddler to the loop, then we also just draw our entire deck as we're making the infinite tokens. Spyglass Siren can make infinite map tokens. Also, Quantum Riddler just really good with airbending. We can like warp it for 2 mana and then Airbender Ascension to airbend it and then recast it full price for 2 mana, draw a bunch of cards along the way. As far as the rest of the deck, we have Llanowar Elves just to speed things up a little bit, Spirit Water Revival to draw some cards, Into the Floodmaw Get Lost, Avatar's Wrath for removal. The one bad thing about this deck is the mana is kind of janky. We are one of the 3 color combinations that only currently has a single shock land, so we gotta lean very hard on like Multiversal Passage, Starting Town, Verges, Surveil Lands, Fabled Passage to try to make the mana work, and usually it's functional enough, but there are some games where we draw like a bunch of Multiversal Passages and it gets kind of awkward, but that problem should fix itself once we finally get to Lorwyn in a couple of months. But anyway, that is infinite airbending. I don't know if it sounds as broken as it plays when I'm describing it, so let's get into the video so you can see how this ridiculous deck actually works. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at MTGGoldfishmerch.com. It is time to do some airbending, and I am starting to think that airbending might actually be kind of broken. It turns out it is really easy, well, potentially really easy to combo with some airbending. Opponent allies on the play, boo. Well, let's play this Spyglass Iron, and it's croaky, silly. Well, this hand, we need the dock. We're missing the dock. We have everything else we need to go infinite, but we don't have the dock Arlog opponent, South Pole Voyager. Gonna start gaining some life. Well, let's play this Multiversal Passage on white. Man, I wish we had more shock lands. The biggest problem with this deck, I think, is the mana's kind of jank. I think we just Airbender Ascension. One of the nice things about airbending is our combo pieces, like Airbender Ascension, are also decent tempo plays. Like, we can just airbend this Protector, and if our opponent wants their 1-drop, they're going to have to spend 2 mana to recast it. We might as well get in for 1, because we're not blocking here. Opponent, land, and Katara the Fearless. Oh, that is scary. That is scary. Opponent hits us down to 16. There's the dock. Man, we're getting closer. We are getting closer. Oh, how do we do this? So we can crack this map, see if we can hit a land. Yeah, all right, another Appa. I mean, Appa is a key combo piece, but we already have one. All right, let's just keep tempoing. Airbender Ascension, Airbend Katara. Get it. Well, actually, let's stay on defense here. If they attack with South Pole Voyagers, we will trade. Opponent land. I mean, this doesn't end the problem. Our opponent can still reassemble all their stuff. Airbending more. So many South Pole Voyagers. All right, opponent gonna draw the cards, gain all the life. Thankfully, if we go off, we do get infinite damage. Okay, there's a land. Man, we're getting close. Oh, man, this Katara, though. How do we want to do this? Let's get in for 2. And I think we just pass. Well, we have some options here. Opponent, Great Divide Guide. Oh, that's really bad for us. So now their allies make mana. Great Divide Guide, one of the best allies, most important allies for the deck. Opponent plays a land. South Pole Voyager with the Katara. Gonna draw all the cards. Opponent's up to casual 35 here. Sure. I think we gotta kill this Katara. They're also, we'll see if they attack. If they don't attack, that means they're leaving up Aang, I assume. Yeah, all right. We got to get rid of this Great Divide Guide to cut off the mana. See if they have an Aang. All right, opponent is going to Aang. What do they do with the Aang? They're going to bounce or airbend the Great Divide Guide. We don't really mind them airbending our stuff, right? Airbend the Katara. Opponent gains 1,000,000 life. Well, their shield's down. We can't go off yet because we don't have the dock down. How do we do this? We can run out the Appa and just airbend a bunch of stuff. I think that makes the most sense. One thing about allies is they don't typically have a ton of interaction. So we're just going to airbend everything. And hopefully just go infinite next turn with the dock. Opponent, land on ally. Okay, Hadoku, sure. Opponent, gonna gain some life. Gonna draw some cards. There's a Great Divide Guide. So opponent still has, we'll see how far they go. Like, if our opponent just goes shields down here, we do win. Like, they don't know we have dock. And dock makes unairbending free. Katara, wait, okay. Katara. We might have it. Opponent, we're gonna go for it. Another dock, okay. Yeah, I mean, let's do the thing. Party time, dock. And, okay. Everything from exile, now free. Spyglass Iron, make an ally. So here's the loop. To actually go infinite, you need dock to make your unairbend stuff free. You need Appa to make tokens, that's the payoff. And then you need another airbend card. So in this case, Airbender Ascension, We're going to go after the Great Divide Guide to cut off the mana, because we have another Airbender Ascension. An opponent going to flash in Invasion Reinforcements. So now we're fully in the clear. So I think we win this game. Like, opponent draws all the cards. But now we get to make literally infinite tokens. It's going to take a minute. It is loop time. And this is why I think Airbend might actually be the scariest mechanic from the Avatar set. I guess we can also draw our deck with this Quantum Riddler. Let's Quantum Riddler. Draw a card. Now we will Airbender Ascension. And I think we just do a little airbending of Appa. Perhaps Appa. And now we can Appa for free. Appa for free. We can pick up the Spyglass, Quantum Riddler, pick up an Airbender Ascension. I think we try to build up one of the Airbender Ascensions. So the end result of this is we make infinite tokens. So we just recast stuff, we make tokens, we get our triggers. Since we have Quantum Riddler, we get to draw our deck, which is not bad. Although we will stop at some point so we don't mill out. Unfortunately, our opponent's at 71, which means we need to make an absurd number of tokens to actually kill our opponent, because they've gained so much life with triple South Pole Voyager. But Appa, blink, blink, blink. And pick them all up. And Spyglass Siren, get an ally. And, man, can you imagine if we had haste somehow? And Great Divide Guide? We'd have infinite mana too. Not that we really need it. Get Lost could be relevant eventually. It would be nice. So we want to draw cards until we find an Into the Flood Maw, I think. And then we can play an untap land and leave up Into the Flood Maw to have a little bit more interaction during our opponent's turn. I don't think any of this is actually going to matter, though. So Quantum Riddler, make tokens, draw cards. And Airbender Ascension. So it is deterministically infinite tokens. If our opponent has a way to beat infinite tokens, then they can still beat us. If we have Aang as our combo piece, rather than Airbender Ascension, then we can do this on our opponent's end step. And then it makes it easier to win even through sorcery speed, removal, and sweepers. Well, Quantum Riddler, draw a card. Not Into the Flood Maw. Spyglass Iron. Also gonna have a ton of maps, so we can Spirit Water Revival at some point. Not this turn, but next turn. Well, let's keep doing Airbender Ascension. Pick up the Appa. Appa. Let's Airbend Quantum Riddler and the Spyglass Iron. And actually, I think this makes more sense. Rather than trying to build up one of the Airbender Ascensions, with two of them, we actually can just Airbend our opponent's entire board. I don't know why I was trying to keep it around for linking purposes. This seems way better. So now we can play one, Airbend the Katara, play another one, pick up the Appa. Yeah, this makes more sense. So we'll just Airbend our opponent's entire board. And then they have to pay 2 to recast everything. And they aren't going to have a Great Divide Guide. So they're not going to have that much mana. So I think this man, it might still take 2 turns to win. We might time out before we make enough tokens. Because our opponent's at 71. Normally that wouldn't be a problem, but apparently South Pole Voyager is really good at gaining life. All right, Airbend the Hadoka. Airbender Ascension. Number 2. Pick up the Appa. So yeah, you just do this. Again and again and again. And again and again. And remember, this is in standard. And one of the things that makes it kind of scary is there's some redundancy with the combo pieces. Like, there's no redundancy for Doc. You gotta have the Doc. That's a unique combo piece. Appa, there's no redundancy for Appa, really. Although if you have multiple, yeah, there's no redundancy for Appa. Like, those are the 2 pieces where there's no redundancy. But you do have Airbender Ascension and Aang for redundancy for the second Airbend piece. So it is 3 pieces. Thankfully, a lot of those pieces are, like, fine on their own, and you don't have to play, like, a bunch of, like, Aang's very good, Appa's very good. Doc, I don't know if it's very good, but it's passable. It's passable. All right, we're going to do this until we Airbend all of our opponent's stuff. And then we would still like to find the Into the Flood Maw, but we might just call it good there and trust that we're going to be able to win over the course of 2 turns. The other nice thing about this combo is we can end with the Appa in exile for free. So if our opponent does try to interact with our board, we can always flash in the Appa. Oh, okay, there's the Flood Maw. We can always flash in the Appa, and just airbend all of our stuff so we can try again. Well, get rid of the token. Airbenders. Oh, so many clicks. So many clicks. The combo is so sweet, though. This is what? Turn... I guess it's not super fast. Turn 6? I think we can win on turn 4, like with our best draw. Well, airbend it all again. At first I thought airbending was bad Blink, but actually there is some upsides compared to Blink. Like, this combo would not do the thing if it was Blink instead of airbend. Well, Airbender Ascension number 2. Pick up the Appa. Appa. Pick up everything. We're almost there. We're almost there. Is there anything on our opponent's board we don't want to airbend? That's the other question. I think we just airbend literally everything. Like, I know they can remake it to... Oh, no, there's the clock. Oh, okay. Can we airbend everything before we run out of time? We are not going to get to 71 tokens, which is fine. Appa, pick it up and replay the Appa. We do want to play the land before we run out of time, so we can leave up into the Flood Maw. Oh, man, we might not be fast enough. Spyglass Siren, make a token. And how about Airbender Ascension? Okay, we have one timeout. Let's airbend the... Yeah, we're going to airbend the token producer. I think it's fine. All right, pick up the Appa. All right, we're almost done because Arena says we're done. Appa. Blink out. Yeah. Blink out one more time. We're going to leave one of the Airbender Ascensions to actually get the counters. We're going to play the Spyglass Siren. We're going to play Multiversal Passage on blue untapped. Oh, come on, Arena. Come on, Arena. And now we're going to play the Airbender Ascension to pick up the Appa. Come on. Hold. Oh, come on. Okay, we got the Appa back, but... Oh, we don't get to discard the hand size, and we lost into the Flood Maw. Okay. Well... We're still in good shape. The clock, if it wasn't for our opponent gaining so much life, this would be a lot less stressful because we would definitely have lethal opponent, Katara. I think we're still fine, though, because we can just do all this again during our next turn if we have to. Opponent, South Pole Voyager. Sure. Opponent, gonna start gaining even more life, drawing even more cards. But airbending all of our opponent's stuff, even though they can replay it, like, the tempo hit's kind of huge. Look at all the stuff our opponent still has in exile. Like, it's going to take them several turns to recast everything. They might be leaving up another Aang, considering they didn't play something else from exile and left up 3 mana, so there might be another Aang. Although I'm not sure the Aang really gets us here. We draw planes. Well, play the planes. I mean, Appa? I think we just do the same thing. See if our opponent has... There's the Aang. Okay. There is a Katara, which means our opponent does get to double airbend. They can airbend the dock, but then we just recast it for 2. So I don't think this Aang actually stops us here now that we have all our mana. And they're going to pick up the Aang again to have access to it. Sure. So they bounce the dock. It doesn't really do anything, though, because we can just recast it. I mean, I guess it costs us 2 mana. Now let's replay the dock. And then I guess at some point we just attack with... We attack with all the tokens and do it again the next turn and trust that that's going to be enough. Spyglass Siren. Airbender Ascension. I guess we can airbend our opponent's stuff again. Get rid of the South Pole Voyager. Man, it makes the loop even more annoying when you have 2 Airbender Ascensions. The fact that you not only make infinite creatures, but you get to airbend all of your opponent's creatures is so brutal. Yeah, it turns out that casting things for free. Who would have thought that being able to cast all your stuff for free would be broken? Who would have guessed? Well, oh, and there's an Aang too, just in case something goes wrong. I'm actually surprised Crokis has sat it out this long. Well, get rid of the Katara, Airbender Ascension, pick up the Appa, and then I think that's fine. Let's do some attacking. Hit ya. 46 1/1 allies. Down to 29. Play... Oh, we can't play Starting Town. I guess we can play Llanowar. And still have Aang up. Yeah, let's play the Llanowar. Get some triggers. And yeah, we'll just pass. Do a little discard into hand size. We could have cast the Spirit Water Revival, but I think leaving up Aang is actually just better. And opponent, okay. I think they have finally given up. Opponent passes, and we will just respectfully go to combat. Swing in, and that's why Airbending might actually be kind of busted. Wow. Our opponent, it's not like our opponent had a bad game either. They were popping off with allies, but turns out infinite. Better than making a lot of allies. Sweet. All right. It is time to see how busted Airbending can be. We are playing some infinite airbend in our new standard format. And, yeah, starting down Llanowar, this hand is interesting. This mana base, oh my god, it is the worst part of the deck. Opponent, Dimir, oh, there's Doc. Okay, that's not a bad draw. Do we just run out Doc, even against Dimir? Yeah, we're going to do it. Let's run out the Doc. And Multiversal Passage on white. So we have double white for Appa and for Avatar's Wrath. Unfortunately, our Verge isn't going to be turned on. Opponent. Well, there goes Avatar's Wrath. Duresses, eh? Our deck's pretty good against Duress. Ooh, Aang. All right, well, play the land. Get in, hit ya. All right, our Verge is on because of Multiversal Passage. Duh. About it. So we're actually set to go infinite. Like, we'd like our opponent to tap out so we know they don't have interaction, but we can flash in the Appa, and then we can use the Aang. Cruel Claw's Heist. Well, okay. That actually does mean we don't get to go infinite. We'll see if our opponent understands what our deck's doing. Quantum Riddler looks like the better card here. I think we are going to airbend the elf. Yeah, let's airbend the elf so we can get another token. So our opponent has to take the Aang, or we just go infinite here. If they take Quantum Riddler, that would be a sign they do not understand what this deck is trying to do. All right, they do take the Aang. So now we need another airbender. Well, Quantum Riddler, eh? Also cute that Doc reduces the cost of unwarping. Well, Quantum Riddler. Draw us 2 cards. Well, there's an Aang. We can't cast it yet, but this means we can recast the elf, make an ally, play the starting town, and we are once again next turn set up to go infinite. The discard might not be enough. Pick up the Quantum Riddler. Can recast it for 3, which is kind of nice. About it. The Terminus are returned. Okay. And Quantum Riddler. All right. And that should do it. Yeah, I mean, good game, opponent. Happy Avatar Day. Happy Avatar Day to you. So 1, 2, we can warp the Sphinx and still do it. Yeah, that seems even better because now we get to draw our deck. Well, now we can Avatar Aang. Pick up Appa. It is kind of fitting that it's Aang and Appa, I think, flavor-wise. And then replay the Appa for free and bounce everything. Except the Doc and the tokens, of course. And then Llanowar Elf, make a token. And it is all over but the crying, as they say. Quantum Riddler, draw a card. Aang. Pick up the Appa. Appa comes down to save the board, which actually means just comboing off. Pick him up. I mean, thankfully our opponent's at 13, so we don't have to do it for that long this time. Not like that Croakies game. My god, Croakies and that life gain. Well, Aang. Make another token. Pick up the Appa. Replay the Appa. Pick up everything. And this might actually just be, this might be good enough. Also, worth noting, so because we have Aang, and we can cast Aang and Appa with Flash, we can just combo at instant speed now. The downside is we can't loop the Quantum Riddler instant speed, but we can make infinite tokens at instant speed. So I think we just call that good, and get in for 3. We pass the turn, and if our opponent has a Wrath, we can Appa and blink everything out. If they don't, then I think they die. And opponent agrees and scoops it up and airbending. It's so funny. People didn't seem that hyped for airbending compared to the other mechanics, and airbending might actually be the broken one. Whew, sweet. All right, it is time to do some more airbending, perhaps infinitely. This hand, it seems fine. We're not super close to comboing, but we got a couple Aangs to do tempo-y stuff with. Let's see what our dear opponent's up to. Opponent. Gonna play them a Gene Polluter, eh? Alright, well, I guess we keep on Llanowar Elfing. Llanowar Elf, Multiversal Passage. I think we go white. Because that turns on both of our Verges. This deck could really use the rest of the shock lands. That is the biggest weakness of playing Bat right now. Oh god, okay. Jackal, or whatever this thing's called. Oh, alright, Llanowar ×2. Yeah. That is a pretty fast start. Maybe we should have left up the Ang. Maybe it was too greedy. Maybe we... I mean, I didn't really expect Jackal into double Llanowar Elf. Well, let's see what our opponent does here. Sadly, we only have one blue source, so we can't Flood Maw and Ang. We can do one or the other. And the problem with Ang is our opponent can just recast the thing. It is temporary. Badger, Mole Cub, ×2. Good lord, what a start. I think our best hope is that we ambush something with Ang. Like, we get to combat, we airbend something, and Ang can kill it. But, my goodness. Now there's 2 Badger Mole Cubs. So, our opponent has, like, 10 mana still. God. Badger Mole, I don't even know what the busted thing is here. Enduring Vitality, okay. So now all of our opponent's creatures tap for mana, and they all tap for 3 mana. This is not looking great. And every one of those Jackals has hit too. They're up to the fall patch. This is the most ridiculous start I think I've seen all day. Okay. This is what, turn 3? My god. Okay, Badger Mole Cub might be actually broken. Yeah, tap those creatures for 3 mana. Have mercy, kill us. This Ang is a swift savior, not swift or savory enough here. My goodness, this start. I'm actually just impressed. This is absolutely ridiculous. Opponent, yeah, making a bunch of manas. Wait, do you actually just have the win? Do you have like a hoof or something? Song of Thompson. Well, how do you like us now? Boom. Airbend that, Ang says. Opponent passes, and yeah, it doesn't matter. We're still just super dead. Yep, well, Badger Mole Cub. Good card. It's a good card. All right, it is time to do some airbending. Ooh, up against MTG Malone. Also being ambitious. And, yeah, all right, this hand actually looks pretty good. Appa Airbender Ascension, we're a dock away. We're a dock away from doing the thing. Opponent gonna lead on a Llanowar of their own. Well, let's play a Hushwood Verge. Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. Should have played the Breeding Pool. I don't know why I was thinking we were gonna get white mana there, but we went unpunished. All right, let's play this Breeding Pool. Turn on our Verges, and we're just gonna pass. We can flash in Appa if we need to. Opponent, Forest, and King of the... Oh, it's Lizard Ice. The opponent's going to try to turn our Llanowar into a 4/4. I mean, it does beat its Lizard, as Phil would say. We're just gonna Appa it. Oh, Phil. Well, low value Appa. We're not ready to go infinite yet because we don't have the dock, but we can spend 2 mana. I think we just Airbender Ascension the king. Let's get rid of the king. Breeding Pool untapped. Play a Llanowar from exile. Make an ally token. Start getting some counters on our Airbender Ascension. And yeah, I guess we hit you for 3. So if we ever draw a dock, we go infinite immediately. All right. King Lizard returns. About it. Pass. Whoa. Oh, all right. Well, don't mind if I do. Well, there's dock. Actually, no, we don't go infinite immediately, do. Oh, we can still go infinite because we airbend the Appa. Yeah, we're still good. Airbend the Appa, and now it's party time. And this is the full party with 2 Airbender Ascensions. This game is super duper ultra over. All right, well, let's make some infinite tokens here. Oh, turn 4. I think this is turn 4, right? Through our opponent having some removal, like they actually had some answers to our stuff with that Lizard, and it didn't matter because we just airbend it. And Appa Gonna pick up Airbender Ascension. Gonna pick up the Landlord War Elves. Do it again. Do it again. Opponent gonna give us the GG and scoops it up. And we can also airbend all of our opponent stuff eventually, but no rush. We're gonna be doing this for a while. Well, Appa, busted. Kind of busted. All right, it is time to do some more airbending. Ooh, Quantum Riddle airbending. Oh, mono red, but no 1-drop. All right, that's fine. Well, let's play a breeding pool, a very rare shock land. This deck will get way better once we get the other 2 shock lands. Right now, we just have breeding pool and sometimes firebending student. Okay, I'm curious to see how good firebending student is, but not curious enough to not kill it because I'm very scared that it'll kill us. But I feel like Firebending Student should be one of the best cards in the set when it's not dying to us. Oh, this might be brutal for our opponent. Firebender Ascension. You know what? Airbender Ascension's very good against. It's very good against tokens. Ooh, Spirit Water Revival, eh? Very good against tokens, because we can airbend the tokens permanently. I think we just Ang here, though. Like, before our opponent goes to combat, another Firebender Ascension. Opponent's thinking they're going to get so many counters. So many counters. But Ang, I think, would rather than that not happen. Ang Swift Savior. So if I airbend a token, that token's just gone forever. So it kind of is hard removal against tokens, which makes it good against Airbender Ascension. Are we map cracking? All right, opponent, gonna crack the map. And, ooh, Ozai. Ozai is, that's a dock, my god. So we can't go infinite because we don't have Appa yet. That's the missing piece to our current puzzle. What color do we put this on? We need double blue, we need double white. We need, oh man, double everything. We're gonna put it on white. We can play the dock. I think we just play the dock. Airbender Ascension. And we can be a little cute here. Rather than hitting the token, we can hit our Ang. And then we can flash in the Ang to bounce the token and get a counter on the Airbender Ascension. Just cute little avatar synergies. Opponent gonna go to combat. You want some counters on those Firebender Ascensions? Ang still says no. Firebender Ascension, I think, is very good. It just lines up very poorly with with a deck that's full of airbending, apparently. About it. Heartless Act. All right, gonna heartlessly take care of the Ang. Well, the token is still gone, but Firebender Ascension still not triggering. Well, I guess we just need to. We can airbend the Quantum, or we can Quantum Riddler, warp it, draw a card, get a counter, and then we can airbend this is actually kind of insane. Airbend the Quantum Riddler, get around the warp, put it into exile, and then thanks to Doc, we can replay the Quantum Riddler, draw another card, get some more counters, and we're 1 counter away from. Ooh, all right, our mana's finally working out. We're 1 counter away from getting to start blinking Quantum Riddler on our end step too. Normally, we don't actually turn on the blink mode on Airbender Ascension very much, because we're always just bouncing it, but in theory, it is good with Quantum Riddler. Like, if we get 4 counters and it's good, opponent. Bayu, sure. The thing that makes the mana carry over. Let's just play Starting Town. Would have been nice to hit a creature there. Get in, hit ya. Down to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to just kill that. Kill that while your opponent's tapped out so we don't take any damage. I think we're going to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to wait. We're going to wait on Spirit Water Revival. We're actually like... All right, another Firebender Ascension. We're very close to actually waterbending it and drawing 7. Wild Ride. All right, that is a little scary. Opponent going to finally get in an attack with one of these tokens. Get some counters on their Firebender Ascension. We will take the beats. What are we doing with that mana, opponent? Burst Lightning to the face. All right, free Burst Lightning. Pretty good. Another Airbender Ascension. Yeah, we're gonna play it the boring way. Get in, hit ya, down to 7. Airbender Ascension the token. This just feels... Actually, Airbender Ascension the Sphinx, that's even better. And then we can replay it for free, draw 2. Okay, we hit it into the Flood Maw. And we'll just blink the Sphinx on our end step now that our Airbender Ascensions are on, and keep getting more counters, and pass the turn. I mean, I think that should pretty much do it. With Into the Floodmaw in hand, we don't got to worry about getting janked out. The Legend of Roku. I think Legend of Roku is good. Our opponent just did not hit their lands fast enough for it to matter, though. You really got to get it down more on curve. And yeah, just to make sure, let's Into the Floodmaw the token. Technically, we do not have lethal here. We're one short of lethal. All right, an opponent scoops it up, and, well, we can win without going infinite. That's good to know. All right. It is time to do some more airbending, perhaps infinitely if things go well. And we're going to keep this. We got the dock, which is the rarest of our combo pieces. And it works with Quantum Riddler, which gives us something to do while we're waiting for the rest of our... Momo! You're supposed to be on our side, Momo. We're the good guys here. We have Aang in our deck. Yeah, let's just Multiversal Passage on... I think blue for the Sphinx, because we are going to need double blue. And then let's just play the dock. Not doing anything yet. But it is the card we want on the battlefield, because when it comes time to do things... Valley Quest Caller, eh? Pumps the Momo. Is this a bat deck? What is our opponent doing? Yeah, let's warp the Quantum Riddler. Draw a card. Another Llanowar. Now let's just play the land on white. These Multiversal Passages. The things you have to do when Wizards doesn't print their shock lands. And I think we just pass. They can block the dock anyway. We'll just pass. Leave up the Get Lost. Which probably kills the Valley Quest Caller, so our opponent can't start scrying about it. Gonna play another Starting Town and a Werefox Bodyguard. Well, I'm glad we left up this Get Lost, because we can just get rid of this Werefox with a trigger on the stack, keep the dock, and this means worst case we can Quantum Riddler this turn. Breeding Pool. Well, we're only gonna draw one. Actually, we can draw two, can't we? If we play the Llanowar, we can play Breeding Pool on tap. This is even better. Into the Floodmaw, do a little bouncing of the Valley Quest Caller, down to one card in hand, 3 mana Quantum Riddler is so busted. Quantum Riddler for 3, draw 2, get a big body, more docks. Okay. This might be another fair game. We need multiple airbending cards to go infinite. We got the dock base covered. We have docks for days. Pound it. Gonna crack a map on the Momo. Find a friendly farm animal. Bonet going to crack a map on the Momo. Grab a plains, sure, and surveil land. Okay, well, that was not the scariest turn I've ever seen. Random equipment, sure. Another Into the Floodmaw. Well, let's just... do we even bounce the Momo? It only lets us get in with the Llanowar. Eh, whatever. I think we just wait. Get in with the dock. Get in with the Quantum Riddler. Hit ya. I mean, at this point, we are just winning the race, right? Especially with 2 Floodmaws in hand. Hopefully, we can just tempo our opponent out. Opponent plains. I mean, not a combo game. Okay, another Momo. Other Momo. Momo Tribal over there. And a Valley Quest Caller. Sure. Pound it. Gonna pump him. Goes to combat. And passes. We draw. Too many docks. Doctron, not the best Tron. Well, let's attack and attack. This gives our opponent to block in a way that we can get value at the end of the Floodmaws. Ooh. Okay, wait. Actually, that's very bad. Now we might be losing. The removal spell on the Quantum Riddler. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just bounce the Valley Quest Caller so our opponent can't block the dock. We do get a couple of maps, which is something. Yeah, we might be dying to Momo Tribal. The deck has been so good, and now we're going to die to Momo Tribal. Starting Town off the map. That's not what we wanted. Let's try again. Breeding Pool, also not exactly what we wanted. Well, pass the turn. It has been some awkward running. So many docks, so many lands, so many Floodmaws. We have drawn so many Llanowars. We have drawn like a bunch of copies of a very weird part of our deck this game. Found it, Valley Quest Caller. And gonna equip up on the Momo. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage in the air. We really needed... Yeah, I mean, I guess we bounce the Valley Quest Caller again. Take 3 down to 6. Ooh, Appa. Okay. Maybe relevant. We're getting closer. Can we survive long enough? I mean, now we only need one more Airbend card and we can go infinite. Although, because they have so many flyers, going infinite might not actually be as game-ending as you think. Valley Quest Caller. The Diligent Zookeeper. Everything's huge, and Appa can't save us from that. Alright, it is time to do some infinite airbending. Hopefully. This hand... Alright, I kind of like this hand. This hand seems fine. We got some airbending. We got a Quantum Riddler. Hello, Hamhawks. Moltender, eh? Well, Spirit Water Revival. So far, we have not seen the big Spirit Water Revival. We've had times when we could have done it, but there were times when we already went infinite, so there wasn't much of a need to actually do it. About it. Passing. It's just a 2-of. 2-of. Way to draw a couple more cards. Well, since we drew a Hedge Maze, I guess we just play that. Do a little... opponent, gonna Molt Tend. Mill a Forest. Yeah, I mean, I guess we keep starting town, and then we have all of our mana for the most part. Opponent, Verge, and Ice Till Explorer. When they got the land in the graveyard from the Molt Tender, that's pretty good. Yeah, well, we are going to bounce the Ice Till Explorer. Let's slow things down. I missed that Teferi voiceover. That's when you knew things were bad. When you start hearing Teferi say, let's slow things down, it's like, oh god, it's gonna be this again. Oh, Teferi. Alright, pass the turn, leave up the egg. Opponent. Molt Tends. Mills. Another land, which probably what they want, considering they have an Ice Till Explorer. Like, getting the land in the graveyard is kind of relevant. And there's the Ice Till. I mean, we are gonna ang it. They can recast it with Molt Tender. So this is not a permanent solution to this problem, but bounce the Ice Till, bounce it, Schwamp, and replays the Ice Till, and there's a land from the graveyard. Gonna do a little milling. Yup. I mean, the good news is going infinite should be whatever our opponent's doing, right? Like, if we can actually do it. I would like to Quantum Riddler, Airbend Quantum Riddler, set up to recast it next turn. I'm just too scared of Ice Till Explorer, though. It hurts, because this is basically our only realistic play. We can still warp the Sphinx. And then I guess we're a land away from just hard casting anyway. Much more explosive when it's 2 mana, though. Oh, Ozai. Well, we did find the land. That Ozai. Well, Ozai has trample anyway. Yeah. Even if they Ozai, it's not like we're going to ang it. Yeah, get in and hit you. Well, hopefully they cannot reanimate that Ozai, or else we might be in a sketchy spot. Opponent. Avatar's Destiny. Okay, spicy. You know what lines up really poorly with airbending? Enchantments with death triggers. Well, there's reanimation, so thankfully it comes into play tapped at least, but that does mean they get the Ozzy. Ozzy. Opponent. Gonna crack the map. Gonna get and hit us. Down to 11. Starting town A. I would like to play Quantum Riddler. Ozai. I mean, we gotta hope we don't get Ozai this turn. Zuko's Conviction is tapped. So I guess we just... I think we gotta Airbend Ascension the Llanowar Elf to get rid of that aura. And then we can play the land, and I guess we just Divination, see if we can find an Appa. No. Okay. I mean, if we find Appa, well, we need the dock too. We need dock and Appa, so we still need multiple combo pieces. Thankfully, we have a bunch of airbending and into the Fledmaw, so hopefully we can remain in the land of the living for a few turns while we try to find our combo pieces. I'm very worried about that Ozai in the graveyard, though. That Ozai, it is a clock. It is a real clock. About it. looking at their graveyard. Not exactly what we were hoping for. Are we dead? Bone it. I mean, their reanimation... Oh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You don't need to reanimate it. Just get it back in your hand and you have mana to cast it. Okay. Yep, that also works. Well, there's a Ozai. And this one's going to hurt a bit. That is a 7/7 trampler. Yep. I know Aang is supposed to win, but I don't know if we're going to be stealing Ozai's soul here. Opponent, Llanowar Elves. Not, you know, real life's not always like the movie, they say. We are... I mean, we're just trying to stay alive until we draw combo pieces. So in theory, we're at 4. We wait to combat. We can into the Floodmaw, the Ozai, and then I guess we just... I mean, Airbend Ascension, the Molt Tender? Not that it does a ton. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, let's Airbend the Molt Tender. Pound it. Gonna mill. Alright, just to land. That's fine. Well, I mean, now we gotta pass. So because Ozai has haste, we do need to wait until the start of combat to bounce it, or else they just recast it and then smack us. Avatar's Destiny, alright. That's these Avatar's Destinies have not been impressive. The Ozai's been impressive. The Avatar's Destiny, we are seeing a textbook example of why auras tend to not be that good. Yeah, into the Floodmaw. Bounce the Ozai. Get rid of your Avatar's Destiny. That's it. The funny thing is, yeah, Ozai returns. The funny thing is our opponents spend 8 mana. They spent 8 mana on Avatar's Destinies to do nothing, and I think they still might beat us. That is a sign that we are not running well. So we play the tap land. How do we get out of this? I guess we have to Spirit Water Revival to draw into something? I mean, we can Airbend Ascension the Aang, I guess. Airbend Ascension the Aang. Yeah, I guess that's the best bet. And then we do the same thing, wait to combat. Even an Appa would be good. Even just without the dock. Even just an Appa to pick everything up and, like, get some triggers. Even that would be helpful. So about it. Gonna go to combat. Well, Aang. Let's airbend that Ozai. Our opponent's trying so hard to get us with this Ozai. So far, we've been able to delay it, but sooner or later... Yeah, 2-mana Ozai. And Molt Tender returns. And Massacre Worm? Okay. That is actually a problem. Wait, now we're dead, right? So, we do another Aang. Aang can bounce the Ozai. The problem is, now there's a Massacre Worm, so if we play an Aang, we Legend Rule. We take 2. And then we only have 1 blocker left. Oh, alright, that divination did not pay off. Well... Pass the turd. So, if our opponent doesn't attack with the Elf and the Molt Tender, we can live 1 more turn. If they attack with everything, then we die. Yeah, alright, opponent, they saw the line. Yeah, because even if we try to block, we take 2 from the Massacre Worm, 2 from the other stuff, and death. Well, Ozai, better than Aang apparently, just like in the show. It is time to do a bit of airbending. We're playing some new Avatar Standard with a free account from Wizards. Thanks, Wizards, for hooking us up for the day. And, yeah, this hand is not especially close to comboing, but it's a nice little interactive hand. Floodmaw, a little removal. Aang, which is kind of more removal. I don't think we're going to keep another Floodmaw, though. We kind of want to start finding some airbending pieces. Opponent leads on an island. Well, all right, there's the dock. I mean... The dock is arguably our most important card. Yeah, we're going to get it down. Play the Verge, get down the dock. So now we're, what, an Appa away from trying to do the thing? Opponent Forest. And Maze. Oh, Maze Mindstone. When I see Maze Mindstone, now I think Planetarium. Because it is one of the easiest ways to trigger the cheapest ways, at least, to trigger Planetarium during your opponent's turn. I think we just do Riddler things here. We can warp a Riddler, draw a card, Play a land on blue. I think we're going to play untap because of Floodmaw. And now this means we can full price the Riddler for 3 next turn, which even that's a pretty strong line. Just a 3-mana 4/6 flyer that draws cards is kind of good. Opponent's going to Splunking. What is our opponent doing over there? Doppelgang? But Doppelgang doesn't really work that well with Planetarium. Opponent, Vising say, sure, and I'm gonna pass. Well, we draw planes. Yeah, I mean, I guess we. Let's get in with the dock first, I guess. Might as well. Hit you to 16. And then we can Multiversal Passage. Are we going to leave up the Aang? Maybe leaving up the Aang is better. Yeah, let's wait. Let's just wait on the Riddler. We're going to leave up the Aang here. I don't know what our opponent's doing. I'm a little worried just because it's the unknown thing. It's like our opponent's playing Morphs. Oh, maybe they're just an Aboroid deck. Aboroid, well, that is Aangable. Opponent already played their land, right? They played their land, so we Aang, they can't recast. Yeah, this is fine. Might as well get another body on the battlefield. Airbend the Aboroid. And opponent gonna Maze my. Maybe they're not a Planetarium deck. Scries to the top. Ooh, there's Appa. Ooh. We're gonna. So we could go infinite right now. I think I'm gonna play the Riddler first, though. I'm gonna play the Riddler first, and then we can Appa next turn. Go infinite while also drawing infinite cards. I don't really know what our opponent's deck is up to. I don't know what we're trying to play around here. Maybe just going infinite there is going to be good enough. But going infinite while we also draw our deck, that should definitely be good enough. Opponent scries to the top. And passing? All right, well, another Floodmaw. Now let's go to combat. Get in, hit you. Etherize. Okay. Well, I guess I'm glad we didn't go infinite then, because it wasn't going to work if they had Etherize. They would have just bounced everything. Thankfully, we can Appa. We can blink out everything. And we're still set up to go infinite now. Opponent, Maze Mindstone, draw a card. So we're set up to go infinite, although going infinite, if our opponent's an Etherize deck, not necessarily enough to win the game. So play the dock. Quantum Riddler. Draw a card. Make an ally. Aang. Pick up the Appa. I wonder, do you think Wizards intentionally made Aang and Appa go infinite together? That is, like, kind of fitting flavor-wise. Or do you think when we get the ban list article a year from now, where they're like, well, we should have known that free spells were super busted, but, you know, we didn't think to test Airbend with Doc Arlock. That they just didn't realize any of this was possible. That you never know with WotC. You never know. I could see it being like, oh, it'd be cute if they can loop each other. It won't be too strong. Or I could see it just being like, oh, Doc Arlock, what's that? I forgot we even made that card. Well, that's Aang. Let's pick up the Appa. So now we go infinite at instant speed. We can't loop the Riddler at instant speed, but we go infinite at instant speed. We can make enough power that we can win in a single attack here. The question's gonna be, do they have the Ether Eyes? Well, Appa, I don't think it really matters. Even if they have the Ether Eyes, we can just do the same thing again. Like, it is literally just fogging and delaying the inevitable. Well, Aang, pick up Appa. Appa, Airbend Aang. I will say the, like, flavor of the mechanics are actually pretty good. Like, after watching the show, the airbending kind of feels like airbending. The firebending kind of feels like firebend. Like, they all kind of make sense. Well, let's keep doing this for a minute. Our opponent's at 16. We do have the Riddler, which is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14. I mean, we're actually not that far away from having lethal. Thank you, opponent. Thank you. It is pretty nice. I honestly don't know if it's good for standard that this exists. I mean, maybe it's fine. It's early access day, so you never want to read too much into early access day. Once you get into, you know, competitive standard, where people are playing the tier decks instead of their brews, well, combat gonna hit you. Found it. Aetherize. Well, okay. We will just play an Ang, bounce an Appa. We will just keep on comboing. Appa. Pick everything up. We do lose the tokens, but sadly those allies are the replaceable allies. If there's one thing our combo is good at, it is making ally tokens. Well, Doc returns and Quantum Riddler. And how about an Ang? Actually, yeah, let's just play the Ang. And pick up the Appa. And Appa. Riddler, Ang, pick him up. All right, so we got to get 16 power again. Sooner or later, they will not have access to an Ether. How many Aetherizes can our opponent draw? How many are they playing? Our opponent's apparently playing 4 Aetherizes. I wonder what they're trying to get to. Like, what is the... Is it Planetarium? Is it actually just, like, Fog into Planetarium? Actually, could we have won there? We might have been able to win there. We could have tried to, like, double Ang to stop the Aetherize that way. There is some risk that if our opponent had interaction, it could fall apart. I think with the combo being locked in, other than just taking clicks, it seems pretty safe to just, like, reassemble the combo again. Opponent, Aboroid. Okay, that we do not care about. And opponent, gonna put counters on the Aboroid. Sure. And opponent, passing. Well, okay, we might as well bounce it. We don't really care about it, but we might as well bounce it because we've been holding these flood ones all game. And, all right, untap, combat, attack. Will you please just die, opponent? For the love of God, get in, hit ya. Do you really... All right, Aetherize number 4. But this time Ang will be the Swift Savior. Opponent's tapped out. Keep the attacking Ang. Airbend the Aetherize. And, well, sometimes you got to combo 3 times. Because your opponent's playing a bunch of Aetherizes. But in the end, Airbending is still getting the job done. Sweet. All right, it is time to do some Airbending. We're playing some infinite Airbending in Avatar Standard. And the more I play this deck, the more I think this deck could be kind of real. Like, if the Outcaster Trailblazer deck can be a real deck, I feel like this deck should at least be able to be somewhere on that level, right? Like, that's also a deck that needs a few specific pieces. You need creatures on the battlefield, and that's become a pretty good deck. Is our opponent Momoing us? Are we getting Momoed? Oh, Air Nomad's Legacy. Okay. Favorable Winds returns, this time with a clue. Well, Ang is pretty good. And let's just pass. I don't even know if we want to kill the Momo, because if the Momo dies, our opponent gets Momo value. Oh, I guess it's leaves, actually. So even airbending it, I think that's part of the power of Momo, right? Is you're supposed to airbend it and replay it to get its triggers. Momo, wow. Gonna legend rule yourself? Okay, opponent. Momo, legend rules Momo. Gets a little leaves trigger off Momo to put a counter on Momo. Somo Momo's opponent. Getting in with the Momo. Yes, okay. Well, I don't even want to really kill it. I guess we'll kill it. Sure. Kill the Momo. Kill the Momo. Kill the Momo. All right, Momo down. That kind of max punishes our opponent for legend ruling themselves, honestly. Like, they played their second Momo to put a counter on the first one, and then we kill the first one. Oh, it's kind of like strip mining the bounce land. Is it really that effective? Does it send a message? Yeah. Yeah, let's just pass. Leave up the Ang again. Opponent, Sun Imperial Kirin. That's kind of cute. Pretty cute with... Oh, they're going to pick up the token. I guess that also makes sense. You get to draw the card right away. It's pretty good with Air Nomad's Legacy, right? You can pick it up, replay it, get another clue. But I guess if you got a token you're not planning on using, you might as well. Empyrean Eagle. Well, I think we're going to Ang that. Our opponent doesn't have the mana to recast it right away. About it. Getting in with the Sunburial Karen, sure. Down to 13, and nerd. So this is like, it's an interesting take on Air Nomad's Legacy. Oh, there's the dock. I mean, we don't have the Appa, so it isn't just game. Yeah, let's actually, how do we do our mana most effectively? I mean, we need to put this on white for the long term in case we draw Appa. We do need the double white. But we can tap the Llanowar. Let's Airbender Ascension. Airbend the Aang. And then just pass the turn. We're not gonna run that out the dock yet because we're not ready to combo. We could run out dock and Aang would be free. But I think we wanna not let our opponent know about the dock yet. Because once people realize what Airbending's up to, I feel like dock is going to be the card that people are going to really focus on killing. Because if you just kill the dock, the deck still can like do things. We have seen some fair wins with the deck. But if you don't have the dock and you have to actually spend honest to goodness mana to recast your Airbend stuff, things are much less explosive. Opponent, going to pick up the Air Nomad Legacy, replay the Air Nomad Legacy. But we will Aang to Airbend the Air Nomad's Legacy. Flavor win. And Aang's also good enough to just stonewall all these flyers, which is nice. Oh god, there's Appa. Huh, okay. Well, maybe we should have just played the dock last turn. Maybe we should have just played it, and then we could have actually just comboed right now. I mean, this is still fine. We'll just pass. We have the end of the Floodmaw. Yeah, maybe it was too sneaky to hold on to the dock there. Opponent, Air Nomad Legacy. I don't know what they haven't really cast removal, but I know how much removal they're playing. You would think they're playing Get Lost at least, right? Or like some amount of removal. Opponent gonna beat us down. Well, we will just into the Floodmaw. I guess Fear. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. They're all very similar. Except we don't want about to flash one, that's for sure. All right, opponent plays a land. Well, we don't got to worry about removal. So I think this is actually fine. So we get to go infinite. There would be some worry about just dying to flyers. But because we have 2 airbenders on top of Appa, yeah, let's tap the Llanowar. Because we have 2 airbenders, we can also just airbend our opponent's board, so we don't have to worry about dying to it. Well, pick up Airbender Ascension, pick up the Elf, pick up the Aang, and then we will Llanowar make a token. Airbender Ascension, airbend your whatever, Fear, and then Aang, pick up the Appa. Yeah, this is when the combo feels the strongest, right? When it's not only make infinite tokens, but it's also bounce all your creatures. Otherwise, there would be a risk that we would actually die here. I think the Appa would keep us safe because we could block with it, or the Aang, but there would be a risk that we make all these ground creatures and just die to the creatures in the air. But with two airbend cards, well, I guess 3 if you count Appa, but with 2 airbend cards on top of Appa, the board is dealt with, and we get to go infinite, pick up the Appa, and we'll see how long our opponent sticks it out, but I think this one is over. And I feel like this deck's actually kind of a little maybe busted. just a little maybe busted. I know it's early access day, and you don't want to go too deep on early access day, but this deck feels kind of crazy. Well, yeah, let's do the thing. All of our opponent's stuff is airbended, and Appa, and pick up our stuff. Opponent's at 20, so we got to do this a few more times, especially since they're gonna have some blockers. They can replay their stuff, so we're not ready to stop yet. We can do the instant speed combo. It's just slower. We get more triggers if we can bounce the Llanowar Elf too, so we make tokens quicker. An opponent gives us the GG opponent, and airbending. It turns out when you can cast things for free, broken stuff happens, and the mechanic might be a little bit busted, but we can talk about it in the wrap-up. Be right back. So what did we learn this week about infinite airbending in Avatar Standard? And record-wise, we were playing on Early Access Day with a free account from Wizards, so thank you to Wizards for the account. So we ended up just over 50% win rate, although I don't really put any weight in win rates on Early Access Day because people are trying brews, it's best to win, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking for how the deck feels, and the deck felt really good. As I mentioned way back in the deck tech, it does have an issue with its mana being kind of clunky, where we have double blue cards and double white cards, but not a lot of shock lands. So we do sometimes have issues with the mana, but the rest of the deck felt really powerful. So the combo kind of caught me by surprise, just how easy it is to actually get this combo set up. And the fact that we can cast so many of our combo pieces at instant speed makes the deck even more powerful. Plus, a lot of our combo pieces are actually just good cards on their own. I think the exception would be Doc Arlock. That's the one combo piece that like doesn't really have redundancy, and it's kind of a meh card on its own, even though it's kind of cute with Quantum Riddler that we can unwarp it for just 3 mana, which is kind of a nice bonus. But really, that's the one bad card. But both Aang and Appa are just really solid tempo plays on their own. We can play them defensively to disrupt our opponent, to fizzle removal spells, and then once we get things set up, then we can just pop off, go infinite by surprise, make all these tokens, win the game out of nowhere. So I actually think this deck has a chance to be pretty solid in Standard. I don't want to read too much into Early Access Day because it is Early Access Day. Once you get to full Standard, best of 3 Standard, people probably play more removal. Maybe people just kill the Doc Arlock every time and you never get it set up. I think the deck's backup plan without the combo is like good enough that you can still win with like Appas and Quantum Riddlers and Aangs and kind of the tempo, weird blue-white tempo plan. So I think maybe the backup plan is good enough that the deck should be solid even if our opponent does deal with Doc Arlock. And then when you do stick Doc Arlock, then it becomes ridiculous. Plus, you can use Airbending to kind of protect Doc Arlock. Like your opponent goes to kill it and you just Aang it or Appa it to get it into exile, recast it for 2 mana. So I actually think that this deck has potential to be very good in Standard. I mean, anytime you have a turn 4 kill infinite combo with deck in Standard, you gotta take notice of it. It does need like 2.5 pieces to go off. If you look at our combo pieces, Doc Arlock is unique. There's no other Doc Arlock, so you gotta have a Doc if you want to go infinite. Appa is also unique in the sense that it's our payoff. Like, we could just play Doc and loop Aang and Airbender Ascension a bunch of times, but that doesn't really do anything. So we really need the Appa to be able to generate the tokens to have the combo actually do anything. So Appa's kind of unique as our finisher, but then having redundancy with Aang and Airbender Ascension is really helpful. Like, it's pretty easy to draw at least one of those. So it turns out that in practice, drawing all 3 combo pieces didn't actually seem that hard, especially we got some Spirit Water Revival, which it was kind of medium in the deck. We did Divination it a bunch of times. There were times when we could have cast it as a draw 7, but it was once we had already comboed, so it just didn't matter. There was really no reason to draw 7 at that point because we just attack and win the game. So it was kind of fine in the deck. So I think, is this exact build, this exact 60 cards going to break Standard? I think it's solid, but maybe not. But I think this archetype, with more testing and tuning and brewing for the actual Standard meta, I would not be surprised if some sort of Airbend combo deck was a real deck in Standard. Not saying it's, you know, the new VV and the Tier 0 deck or anything like that, but I actually think the archetype has a lot of potential, and I think it should be an actual tier archetype in some form or another. So that is Airbending combo. That's why Airbending is way more broken than I thought it was, and probably more broken than you thought it was too. So let me know what you think about the deck. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll be back soon with another one. So until then, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.